mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, supercar. I'm not sure. 2023 Maserati MC20 Cielo. Cielo meaning sky, and pointing to the fact that this is the convertible. It's powered by a 3-liter twin-turbo V6 Nettuno engine, making 621 horsepower and 538 pound-feet of torque, made it to an 8-speed DCT with an 8,000 RPM redline. It's rated at 3,400 pounds, which makes it around 140 pounds heavier than the coupe version, but some owners who have independently tested it are getting it closer to 3,600 pounds. We have a carbon fiber monocoque chassis, double wishbone suspension, both front and rear. We have Brembo carbon ceramic brakes. It does have adaptive dampers, but keep in mind that with the Cielo, with the added weight, suspension setup is a little bit stiffer compared to the regular hardtop MC20. This paint color is Aqua Marina, which is a gorgeous 3-layer paint, really transforms with how the light hits it. And this is a special color only for the first edition, the Prima Series. First one on sale in 2023 with an MSRP a little over $250K. This one is starting now at $260, and it is absolutely a gorgeous car. Such a looker. Getting inside the car, got these butterfly doors. MC20, large sill because of that carbon fiber monocoque. And actually, you should keep in mind that when you park next to someone, this sticks out so far that it's an issue when you're parking next. And if someone leaves and then they park too close to you, you're gonna have a hard time getting in. It's gonna be really challenging. We almost had that issue this morning. Getting into the interior. It is a nice place to be. Although you're gonna feel like it has more of an Italian or even British kind of build quality. You know, I feel like this is probably not gonna wear well versus something like a Porsche from the Germans. Seats are pretty comfortable. They are supportive. I think for a car like this is a good balance. We have our drive selector here. We got reverse, drive versus manual, and then here, GT, Sport, and Corsa. This is gonna change a lot of things. The adaptive dampers are gonna get stiffer. It's gonna enable launch control. The steering gets heavier as well in Corsa. The shift logic changes, quicker shifts, holds the gears longer, all that stuff. Opens the exhaust valves at a lower RPM as well. Nice seating position. Visibility is compromised. That is your view out, which doesn't look too bad, but the issue is that it's very high, so that you can't actually see the bottom of the cars or even the middle of the cars behind you. You're looking more towards the top. So they have this camera feed, which is gonna be more useful. This roof is actually super cool. It's this electrically retractable roof. They call it a polymer dispersed liquid crystal technology, so you can have it opaque or clear. And just like that, with the Cielo button. Opaque, clear, opaque, clear. Really, really neat technology. All right, we're gonna go into drive. And we're off. This does have nose lift as well, this button right here, which has been helpful getting in and out of driveways. Let's give you guys a launch. This car is very traction limited, not only on launch like that, but even, you know, going 40, 50 miles an hour and putting your foot down, the rear end is gonna skip. It has quite a bit of power. And wow, this front end is so incredibly sharp. Immediate, precise. And even though it has electrically power assisted steering, it feels really good. You have a good amount of feedback. Nice weighting, especially in this Corsa mode. Let's actually go to manual here so we can hold the gears. I like the weighting in Corsa mode. The right amount of heft. Even the steering wheel feels good in your hands, nice and chunky. The brakes, however, take some getting used to, because when you first get on them, you may think something is wrong, the car's not slowing down. It requires a good amount of effort, a lot of travel as well. There's not much initial bite, So you're really pushing in to get the car to slow down. Transmission very fast, the 8-speed DCT, but not very smooth, and I get it. The Italians want to give you a little bit more flair. The PDK is this perfect clinical machine. Every time it shifts, perfectly smooth, and here you get a little bit of that thump, which adds to the excitement and the drama. But then the issue is if you're braking and you're downshifting, you can actually sometimes upset the car. Oh man, it is even squirrely at these high speeds. This thing is so quick. You can really get the nose to tuck in by letting off the throttle, and getting on the throttle mid-corner can straighten it out a bit. I love that dynamic nature of it. The chassis is talking to you. Woohoo! Yeah. Squirrely on the tail. Now, you hear these turbo whooshes and whistles, and it's pretty front and center compared to other turbocharged supercars like McLaren's. Now, the McLaren's are V8s that are turbocharged. Here we have a V6. And at lower speeds, let me show you at lower speeds here, and lower RPM, just puttering around town, you get this like very gravelly sound. You can hear that. You can hear the turbo noises. At lower speeds, it's not very endearing. When you start revving it out, it sounds much better, but even still in a mid-engine, rear-wheel drive supercar, I'm not sure if the turbo noises being so front and center fits the character of the car as much. Yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit on its toes. It's lively. And having a twin turbocharged engine rev all the way to 8K is glorious. We'll go to manual so we can actually get you all the way to that red line. Ride quality is actually pretty good. In Corsa, it's much stiffer. GT quite soft and supple. Getting great amount of communication. Now, as a convertible, it's not as stiff as the hardtop, and you can feel, you can sometimes hear a little bit of squeaks and rattles. But it's still up there. It is still a very competent and rigid chassis. Man, this front end is just so dialed and so sharp. The smallest steering wheel input gives you immediacy in the front end. So much power too, and this thing builds in a fairly linear way, encouraging you to rev it out while still having good mid-range torque. When you look at a car like this, you don't expect those noises. You expect something that is sounding closer to naturally aspirated. And I understand technology and emissions and regulations. We can't have the naturally aspirated, high revving V8s and V10s and whatnot. But again, certain other manufacturers are able to put the turbo a little bit in the background, not as front and center. Once you get into the brakes, they feel fine, but you don't get quite as much communication as you'd like from them. They're good, they're okay. They're not like Porsche level communication with the brake pedal though. And then, just like that, you can ride in relative quiet and comfort. I do very much enjoy this car, but at 260K plus MSRP, it's a lot of money, and you have many, many options. I think this car is excellent, it is engaging, it is fun, it is highly capable and lively when you drive it. But you have to figure out what are your priorities when you have a budget and a car like this. You get more Italian flair. The styling is absolutely stunning. We've received so many compliments on this car over the last few days that we've been driving it. And you have this Italian flavor, these Italian touches, right? The actual transmission has rougher shifts and it gives you that emotionality, but the flip side is that it can sometimes upset the car. Even the paddles here, they have a nice click, a nice sound to it, but the actuation is similar to other Italian cars that I've driven in that it feels good, but it has a longer travel and it's not as sharp and crisp like some of the Porsche GT products. The interior is bespoke, it is special. The whole platform is unique to just the MC20. It's not shared with any other vehicle. And it feels like a special place, and you're getting some of that Italian flair and specialness. Again, I keep going back to these paddles, but they're column mounted in Italian cars, as an example. You have this footplate here, which says Maserati, that metal bit right here. It's a very nice touch. Carbon fiber in the center. The car does an admirable job of handling its weight, and with the way that they set up the suspension and tune the dampers and even have the double wishbone geometry in all four corners, it gives you this very competent yet lively feeling, and it's a joy to drive in the canyons. My friends, let me know what you think of the MC20 with a comment down below. Much love, my friends, and I'll see you all in that next one.